There's a type of woman who doesn't admire you. She just feeds off your energy. She doesn't immediately take something. She starts by absorbing little by little, always on an emotional level. In the beginning, everything seems intense, attentive, present. You feel like you finally found someone who sees your effort, your dedication, but in reality, she's just mapping out what you do for her. This type of woman is an expert at noticing what others do and not at valuing it. She doesn't thank you, doesn't acknowledge it, doesn't encourage you. She observes how much you're willing to give, but never offers the minimum in return. And you, believing that love is built with giving, continue to give in, help, solve problems, while she only receives as if it were her right. And that's exactly how the psychological wear and tear begins. Not with fights, but with emotional absence. An absence that you try to fill by giving even more, thinking it will make a difference. But for her, it doesn't, because she doesn't admire you. She uses what you represent. If this chapter made you think of someone, subscribe to the channel, because the next ones will open your eyes in a way that maybe no one has done before. Comment, I want to understand more, so I know you're with me. Share this video with a friend who needs to wake up. This type of woman doesn't feel inspired by you. She doesn't look at you and think, what an incredible man, I want to grow alongside him. What she thinks is, what a useful man, I can benefit from him. And there is a brutal difference between admiration and usefulness, a difference that, when ignored, destroys men emotionally. The woman who admires you rejoices in your victories. The one who uses your energy drains your strength. She doesn't care about your limits, your emotions, your tiredness. On the contrary, the more you wear yourself out for her, the more she realizes the power she has over you. She doesn't want your evolution. She wants your availability. She doesn't reciprocate. She doesn't invest. She doesn't build. She only consumes. And you realize this when you start to feel that everything weighs you down, including being by her side. Her presence, instead of being calming, becomes draining. And you, without realizing it, start to forget about yourself because you're too busy keeping someone who wouldn't do 10% for you. If this chapter spoke to you, subscribe and comment continue so I can release more content that opens your mind. Share with a friend who is going through this. This type of woman works like this. She drains you, then blames you, and in the end makes you believe that the problem is yours. It's a silent but powerful psychological cycle. She always creates an environment where you are the one who needs to prove something. Prove that you care, prove that you are present, prove that you deserve to stay. And that's why many men become deeply worn out, because they're trying to win over someone who will never be satisfied. She demands attention, and when she receives it, she says it's not enough. She wants presence, and when you give it, she says you don't understand. It's always a new demand, a new lack, an impossible expectation. This woman doesn't admire you because, to admire, she would need to look at you with respect. Respect doesn't go hand in hand with emotional manipulation. That's why she always keeps you in a state of slight insecurity, as if you're always indebted to her. That's how she maintains control. But the most dangerous thing is that the more she receives, the less she gives. And the less she gives, the more you try to compensate. The cycle never ends until you realize that emotional exhaustion isn't love, it's burnout. Subscribe if this chapter opened your eyes. Comment, I've been through this, if it made sense. Share to help another man. There's always a specific moment when it clicks. An instant when you realize that no matter how hard you tried, she never saw you as a man, only as a source. A source of attention, affection, favors, emotional stability. And when that moment arrives, it comes as an internal shock. You realize that you were the one who carried the entire relationship. You realize that she never gave you the basics, reciprocity. And you realize that if you stopped doing everything tomorrow, nothing would continue to exist. This is the definitive sign that there was no admiration. There was only interest. Because her interest was never in you. It was in what you offered. And when a man understands this, he begins to see the wear and tear he endured, the silence he swallowed, the energy he lost. The good news? When this awareness arrives, you regain your power. Because you finally understand that love doesn't tire, love doesn't drain, love doesn't destroy. What destroys is an emotional bond based solely on consumption. And in the next chapter, I'll show you what to do when you realize you're with this type of woman. Sign up now so you don't miss the next one. Comment, "I'm here," if you're going to continue with me. Share to awaken another man. When you realize you're dealing with a woman who doesn't admire you, but consumes your energy, the first step isn't confrontation, it's awareness. Her greatest weapon has always been her lack of clarity. While you were stuck on the effort, she was stuck on the benefit. That's why, when you awaken, something silently changes inside you. You stop reacting and start observing. You begin to notice how each of her requests is always just a little more. How each of your gestures is received with expectation and never gratitude. How she treats your limits as inconveniences and your tiredness as drama. And when you start observing, she begins to lose power because her power only existed while you were emotionally vulnerable. The first step, then, is simple and powerful. Stop compensating for what she doesn't deliver. Stop running to fill the void she creates. Stop accepting that the relationship depends exclusively on you. This change, even if silent, is immediately perceived by her. And when she feels she's losing control, her mask starts to slip. That's why this step is so important. It restores your dignity without the need for arguments, explosions, or fights. It's about you regaining your energy. Subscribe to follow the continuation. Comment "regaining my energy" if this chapter made sense. Share with a friend who needs to hear this. There's a sign that almost all men ignore, and it's what separates a woman who admires you from one who just uses you. This sign appears in the little things, in the moments when you need her, and she simply doesn't show up. When a woman truly admires you, she supports you on your weekdays. She changes her schedule for you. She notices when something isn't right. She cares, she's concerned, she prioritizes. But the woman who uses your energy is only present when she receives something in return. She's only affectionate when she wants something. She's only attentive when she has some ulterior motive. But the definitive sign is this: she never makes an effort for you. You run, she walks. You give, she consumes. You try to balance the relationship, she puts all the weight on your shoulders. And when you question it, she makes you feel like you're exaggerating, as if expecting reciprocity is absurd. But it's not. It's basic. When you understand this, you realize you were fighting alone and that she never fought alongside you because she never saw you as a priority. And this realization opens the way to the final chapter, where you finally understand what you need to do to break this pattern forever. Sign up for the final chapter. Comment, "I'd understand everything if it made sense." Share with another man who is going through this. Breaking this cycle isn't about punishing the woman. It's about freeing yourself. It's about understanding that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on someone who doesn't respect you. And the process begins when you ask the question you've always avoided. What do I get from this relationship that truly builds me up? When the answer is weak, the relationship is too. And it's at that moment that you understand that keeping someone who wears you down will never generate admiration. On the contrary, the more you sacrifice, the less she values you. Therefore, ending this cycle involves 3 steps. First, you create real boundaries and don't back down. Second, you stop trying to save the relationship alone. And third, you withdraw emotionally before withdrawing physically. When you do this, something amazing happens. She realizes she's lost control. And it's at that moment that she shows who she really is. Some change. Others reveal their true, self-serving, manipulative, consumerist nature. But you, finally aware, stop being a victim of this pattern forever. You regain your peace, your energy, your clarity, and open up space for relationships where admiration isn't asked for. It's natural. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next scripts. Comment liberated if you felt this chapter. Share this video to transform another man. There is a type of man that no woman can manipulate, emotionally drain, or turn into a source of energy. And this man is not the strongest, the coldest, or the most experienced. He is the man who masters a single skill, the ability to position himself emotionally without asking permission. He doesn't enter relationships needing to prove his worth, because he knows his worth doesn't depend on anyone's approval. He doesn't confuse attention with interest, nor does he confuse effort with reciprocity. He observes before giving, listens before trusting, and evaluates before becoming attached. This type of man is never used because he doesn't give away total access before seeing consistency. And the most interesting thing is that he doesn't need to be rude, distant, or arrogant. In fact, he is calm, secure, centered. He doesn't react to a woman's behavior. He responds clearly. He doesn't try to control anything. He simply doesn't allow himself to be controlled. His energy isn't something he gives away indiscriminately. It's something that needs to be earned. When a woman finds this type of man, everything changes. If she has good intentions, she admires him deeply. If she has bad intentions, she quickly walks away because she realizes there's no room for her game. That's the power you gain when you decide that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on unbalanced relationships. Sign up now to receive more content that strengthens your mind and your relationships. Comment shielded energy, so I know you've made it this far. Share this video with a friend who needs to understand this today.